This is the Scorecard, where you score the latest sports news and in-depth views. I'm Anton Roxas. On the Scorecard tonight, UAAP Season 88, Salle 111, UE 110. The Green Archers survive Momowei's Monster 42 in overtime thriller. Also in the UAAP, but in the women's division, Salle snapped 6-game skid to beat UE 73-62 in women's basketball. Creamline's Jema Galanza ruled out of the PVL Reinforced Conference. In the PBA, Maverick Ahanmisi joins brother Jerrick at Terrafirma after Ginebra trade. Carlos Yulo leads Philippine campaign in the Jakarta World Gymnastics Championships. In Major League Baseball, National League Championship Series, the Dodgers 5, Brewers 1. Yamamoto dominates with complete game as LA takes 2-0 series lead. And get to know rising Pinoy boxing sensation from Ifugao, Carl James Martin. All the headlines and more on the Scorecard tonight, the 15th of October. Now, here's our roundup. Down by 21, the DLSU Green Archers stormed back to stun the UE Red Warriors in a heart-pounding 111-110 overtime win at the Mall of Asia Arena. Jacob Cortez exploded for 26 points, including 20 in the second half, to lead LaSalle's epic comeback and snap their 2-game skid. Captain Mike Phillips was all heart with 18 points and 11 rebounds, while Kian Baclaan added 17 before exiting with a late injury. Precious Momowei went supernova for UE, dropping 42 points, the most by a Red Warrior since Alvin Pasaol's 49 in Season 80, but it still wasn't enough. LaSalle now back at 500 with a 3-3 record, and up next, a highly anticipated finals rematch against defending champ UP on Sunday. The DLSU Lady Archers are finally on the win column in UAAP Season 88, dominating winless University of the East 73-62 Wednesday at the Mall of Asia Arena. Even without Nigerian import Novisat Jemo, Kyla Sunga, Kyla Go, and Saila Lubrico took charge, holding off UE's late surge. LaSalle improved to 1-4, and Coach Cholo Villanueva admits it is a rebuilding year, saying patience and learning from mistakes were key. UE fought back in the fourth quarter, cutting the lead to 69-62, but LaSalle's early run proved decisive. Go had a double-double with 14 points and 12 rebounds. Sunga added 11 points and 7 rebounds. Lubrico contributed 9 points, 7 boards, 4 assists, and 4 steals. UE remains winless at 0-5, extending their drought to 15 games since their last win over LaSalle in Season 87. Rachel Lacayanga led UE with 21 points. Both teams return Sunday at the Smart Araneta Coliseum. LaSalle faces UP, while UE takes on Far Eastern University. Meanwhile, Jema Galanza will not be suiting up for the Creamline Cool Smashers in their title defense at the PVL Reinforced Conference. The star spiker has been sidelined due to a left foot injury she's been battling since the Invitationals last August. Galanza, who was seen wearing a walking boot, said the pain started during the Invitational. The former PVL MVP, known for her grit and competitive spirit, shared that this time, pushing through the pain is not an option. Following the advice of her physical therapist and doctor, who both recommended she focus on full recovery before returning to action. Maverick Ahanmisi is headed to Terrafirma, reuniting with his brother Jerrick after his trade request from Barangay Ginebra was granted. The PBA Trade Committee approved the deal on Wednesday, October 15, sending Ahanmisi and Aljon Mariano to the Jeep in exchange for a first-round pick in the upcoming 51st season draft. The move came just days after Ahanmisi revealed in his vlog that he had personally spoken to SMC Sports Director Alfrancis Chua to ask for a trade. Now, 34 years old, Ahanmisi said he wanted a bigger role before his career winds down. At Ginebra, Ahanmisi often played behind Scotty Thompson and RJ Abarrientos. But with Terrafirma, he's expected to lead the team on the floor alongside his brother Jerrick, joining a young core featuring Mark Nonoy and Paulo Hernandez. For the Kings, the deal adds another first-round pick to their draft assets, strengthening their future plans depending on how both teams perform in Season 50. Terrafirma, which finished last in the previous season, used the first overall pick to select Gio Chu, marking their sixth top pick in the last 8 seasons. Carlos Yulo is ready to soar again, leading a Philippine team that includes his younger sister, Eliza, as the 53rd Artistic Gymnastics World Championships kick off in Jakarta, Indonesia next week. The 25-year-old gymnast stands as the country's biggest hope for gold, joined by SEA Games medalists Juancho Besana, John Ivan Cruz, and Justine Ace de Leon, together with Hailey Garcia and Paris Olympians Aliyah Finnegan and Emma Malabuyo. Competition starts on October 19 with 3 days of qualifiers and the finals set on October 22 to 25. Yulo enters as one of the most decorated gymnasts with gold medals in floor exercise from the Stuttgart Worlds and vault in the Kitakyushu World Championships, plus 4 more podium finishes throughout his career. Last year in Antwerp, he just missed out on a medal, finishing 4th in floor. Japan once again brings a star-studded lineup led by reigning all-around champion Daiki Hashimoto. One big story though, reigning floor exercise champion Artem Goldopiat of Israel is out as his team remains barred from competing pending an appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. Also watch out for British-Filipino Jake Jarman, the vault champ from last edition. The stage is set in Jakarta and Carlos Yulo is locked in, ready to lift the Philippine flag to new heights once again. In Major League Baseball, Yoshinobu Yamamoto put on an absolute masterclass, tossing a complete game gem to lift the Los Angeles Dodgers over the Milwaukee Brewers 5-1 and give LA a commanding 2-0 lead in the National League Championship Series. After Blake Snell's 8-inning shutdown in Game 1, Yamamoto went one better in Game 2, going the distance for the first postseason complete game in 8 years. He struck out batters, painted the corners, and made it look easy. The Brewers struck first with a leadoff homer from Jackson Chourio, but that was all they got. Yamamoto reset his focus and never looked back, allowing just 2 more hits and slamming the door in the 9th with a strikeout to end it. The Dodgers' first playoff complete game since Jose Lima's legendary performance in 2004. Now, on the other side of the ball, Max Muncy and Teoscar Hernandez supplied the fireworks, both going deep to power the Dodgers' offense as they continue to roll through October. The Dodgers' rotation is simply dominant, posting a combined 1.38 ERA through 8 playoff games and a mind-blowing .53 against the Brewers. Brewers manager Pat Murphy gave credit where it's due, saying his team chased more than they have all year against LA's lights-out arms. With the series heading to Dodger Stadium, Tyler Glasnow gets the ball for Game 3, followed by Shohei Ohtani in Game 4, as the Dodgers look to stay unstoppable and move one step closer to a historic back-to-back World Series title. And now here's your daily dose of sports lingo. Question: who is called the anchor in a bowling team? In bowling, the anchor is the last bowler in a team lineup, usually the strongest and most consistent player. This position carries the pressure of finishing strong, often deciding the team's final score or win. The anchor is trusted to deliver under pressure and close out the game with confidence. The anchor is the true clutch performer of the team. Now it's time for our off-court buzzer. World number 1 Aryna Sabalenka is not slowing down anytime soon. She is saying she wants to improve in literally everything. And guess who's helping her do it? Novak Djokovic himself. In an open and honest interview, the four-time Grand Slam champion from Belarus opened up about facing hate on social media, nearly quitting the sport, and even her biggest fears for life after tennis. Sabalenka's journey to the top was anything but easy. Back in 2022, she was reduced to tears as her serve completely collapsed before the Australian Open, double faulting nearly 40 times. But Sabalenka didn't give up. She pushed harder, and that moment of struggle became her turning point. A year later, she returned to Melbourne and captured her first Grand Slam crown, then defended it successfully in 2024. She says there's always something to improve. You cannot stop. During the AN event in Hong Kong, alongside tennis legend Andre Agassi, her connection with 24-time Grand Slam champion Novak Djokovic has been a big source of motivation after losing 2 finals earlier this year. She turned to Djokovic for advice. Sabalenka still has many years left in her prime, but she's already thinking about life beyond tennis, maybe in fashion or health. Aryna Sabalenka, powerful, determined, and still striving to be even better in everything. And that's our roundup for tonight, the 15th of October. Up next, get to know rising Pinoy boxing sensation from Ifugao, Carl James Martin. When we return right here on The Scorecard. Welcome back to The Scorecard. He is the pride of the Cordillera, a fierce fighter from the land of the famed rice terraces, Ifugao, and his undefeated pro boxing record is testament to his undeniable talent. Let's get to know more about the Wonder Boy, Carl James Martin, with this report from Sheila Salaysay.
Mountains of Ifugao rises a fighter, a young man whose discipline, heart, and power are earning him a spot among the top contenders in his division.
Whenever Martin attacks,
Carl James Martin, a boxer who started throwing punches at just 6 years old, guided by his father and trainer Abel Martin. What began as a childhood hobby has turned into a lifelong passion, one that's now defining his journey as one of the Philippines' most promising fighters.
Simula po pagkabata ko nag-boxing po ako dahil sa mga kapatid ko na nagsimula silang mag-boxing. Mga hindi sila pinalag-palag pagdating sa karera nila sa boxing. Ako yung naging huling alas ng aking ama. And dahil din doon, ako rin po nagsimula ng boxing. So until now, pinupursige kong mag-boxing hanggang mag-world champion.
The PBA Bantamweight Champion, Carl James the Wonder Boy Martin.
Before reaching where he is today, he went through many hardships. Martin had once to train in a makeshift boxing gym built by his father in Ifugao. Made from old wood, rusty metal sheets, and discarded ropes and tires, but he never gave up.
Yung kahirapan po ng buhay na pinagdaanan po namin, naramdaman ko nagpalipat-lipat sa tirahan. And then, sa time na napaisip ako na hindi pwedeng ganito, gusto ko may maayos na buhay ang aking mga magulang.
After winning gold in several amateur tournaments, Carl James Wonderboy Martin turned pro at 17. Captured the titles WBO Oriental Youth, WBA Asia, and PBF Bantamweight, and moved up to Super Bantamweight in 2020, claiming the WBO Global title in 2023. Also known as the Igrot Warrior, as every time he enters the ring, he is joined by friends and supporters from the north, proudly representing his Igrot roots. For Martin, coming from North Luzon was never a setback, even if most of the country's boxing icons hail from the Visayas and Mindanao. He also shared how much of an influence his father has been in his journey, always reminding him to stay grounded and focus on his goals.
Lagi mong pag-iihan sa pag-iensayo sapagkat pag ikaw yung nasa taas ng ring ay wala nang tutulong sa iyo pagka ikaw yung na lumalaban na kailangan wag mong dadayain sa bawat pagtitrain.
Martin became the Philippine Super Bantamweight champion in 2021 after defeating veteran boxer Mark Anthony Geraldo. Today, Martin ranks world number 2 in the World Boxing Organization Super Bantamweight division, following a series of regional title wins over the past 2 years. In his last 3 bouts, Martin fought in Mexico and the United States, where he defeated all 3 of his foreign opponents by knockout. Martin remains undefeated in his professional career with 26 wins, 20 of which came by knockout.
Focus lang po talaga ako hanggat kaya ng katawan ko gawin lahat ng mga kaya ko sa lahat ng magiging motivasyon ko yun, and then yung mama ko, yung bunso kong kapatid, and yung mga taong nakapaligid sa akin. Also yung Team Wonderboy.
The next challenge for Wonderboy is his upcoming bout at Thrilla in Manila 2 on October 29, where he aims to continue his winning streak and solidify his rise in the boxing world. Reporting for the Scorecard, Sheila Salaysay, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Up next, the pressure hits a fever pitch. The Mariners can punch their ticket to the Fall Classic, but the Blue Jays aren't done yet. It's do or die in Toronto. Who shows up when it matters most? We're about to find out. So you can keep your eyes on the prize. Welcome back to the Scorecard. It's time to keep your eyes on the prize. So the Mariners are on the doorstep of history. 24 years after their last American League CS appearance, they're back, and they're 2 wins away from the World Series. After a 10-3 beatdown in Toronto, Seattle comes home with the city ready to erupt. Game 3, the crowd, the energy, the smell of redemption in the air. It was a statement night. Julio Rodriguez, 3-run thunder early. Jorge Polanco, a 3-run dagger in the 5th. And Josh Naylor, the hometown kid from Mississauga, says, thanks for coming. With a monster 2-run shot, the Blue Jays had no answer. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. still hitless. Toronto's lineup has just 8 hits in 2 games. That's a problem. Tomorrow, it's a duel between 2 craftsmen on the mound. Shane Bieber, the former Cy Young winner, trying to hold the line for Toronto. George Kirby, the Mariners' control artist, 25 straight strikes in his last outing. The kid's confidence is ice cold. And let's not forget, Toronto's been the better hitting team all year. Best average in the American League. But this isn't the regular season anymore. This is a team that looks a little bit tight, while Seattle's playing loose, fun, and fearless. And tomorrow, the M's come home to T-Mobile Park where they're 51-30. This crowd, they've waited a lifetime. No team in baseball has ever made the World Series without hosting one. Seattle wants that story to change. Polanco's been clutch. Raleigh's been ruthless. And Julio, he's the heartbeat of the city. Those 3 are turning every at-bat into a moment. Injuries are piling up for Toronto, and it shows. No Bichette, no punch in the middle of that order. So Seattle smells blood. So here we are, Game 3. The Blue Jays are back into a corner. Bieber needs to be vintage Bieber. Kirby just needs to be himself. If Seattle wins tomorrow, they're a step away from baseball heaven. And that's a wrap on our ALCS Showdown preview. Seattle's chasing destiny. Toronto's fighting for survival. The pressure's mounting. Emotions are raw. So tune in, lock in, and as always, keep your eyes on the prize. Before we go, think on this. From the first American woman to earn an Olympic medal in judo, who went on to dominate the UFC, becoming its first female bantamweight champion and defending her title 6 consecutive times, becoming the first woman inducted into both the UFC and WWE Halls of Fame. Ronda Rousey once said, "The pain you feel today will be the strength you feel tomorrow." And with that, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow on the Scorecard, where sports is our business and business is our sport on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. This is Anton Roxas. Have a blessed evening, everybody. Good night.